Committee, made up of Honorable Cecilia Tawanda, our chairperson, myself, and Advocate Pool, to conduct an inquiry into the allegations against Tendai Masotsha. The committee has since completed its work, and the following are its summary findings, which the party had committed would make public. In conducting this inquiry, the following methodology was used. The committee examined all documents relevant to the case, including media reports, court records, print, audio, and video material. In addition, the committee engaged and interviewed all stakeholders, including the family and legal representatives of Tawanda Muchehiwa. Tendai Masotsha was also interviewed extensively, and other members of the party. The committee also considered written submissions from various stakeholders mentioned above, including Tendai Masotsha and the party at provincial level. Having done this, the following are the summary findings of the committee. 1. The committee established that other than comments made in social media, no specific complaint was made against Tendai Masotsha directly to the party, either at provincial or national level by the aggrieved parties, namely Tawanda Muchehiwa and or his family members. It was the committee's sense that in the absence of a complainant and in the normal conduct of business, the matter would have ended here. However, notwithstanding the fact that there was no formal complaint to the party against our member by the family of Tawanda or anyone for that matter, the party saw it prudent in the interest of transparency and accountability, and also to ensure that any accused person is given an opportunity to be heard. The party therefore resolved to investigate the matter anyway. As alluded to, Tendai Masotsha was also arrested at the same time with Tawanda. She informed the committee that after her release from police custody, she was also subsequently picked up and or abducted by other persons, and where she was then physically abused. The committee was unable to independently verify the abduction of Tendai Masotscha. It confirmed her arrest. The only unchallenged evidence before the committee was her sworn affidavit and a medical report indicating injuries sustained as a result of her abuse. A representative and relative of Tawanda interviewed by the committee indicated that there is no evidence to link the abduction of Tawanda to Tendai Masotscha. In their own words, they said everything is circumstantial. The committee reviewed an audio of a conversation between Tawanda Muchehiwa and an unnamed person who was working from the print shop close to where both of them were arrested. The unnamed gentleman indicated to Tawanda that some state agents had been aware of his movements, and in particular that he was getting his materials printed at that shop. The person in the print shop also stated that there are people who came to view whatever material that were being printed, and he said that he knew one of them who was his friend and that he worked for the CIO. It appears therefore on the face of it that state agents had put Tawanda under surveillance over a long period of time, and before he had even met with Tendai Masotscha. This evidence was also corroborated by the written submissions of Tendai Masotsha. It is the sense of the committee, based on the evidence before it and on a balance of probability, that Tendai Masotsha, Tawanda Muchehiwa, and Mduduzi Matutu were victims of a well-orchestrated, state-sponsored intelligence operation designed to thwart the 31st July protests by scaring off citizens from peacefully expressing themselves. Having considered the evidence before it, the committee then made a determination. After considering this evidence, the committee concludes that there is no conclusive evidence to link Tendai Masotsha to the abduction of Tawanda Muchehiwa. There is no smoking gun. Having completed our determination, the committee noted that it is common cause that Tawanda was abducted by agents of the state. The evidence of his abduction was captured on video. Impala car rentals is the evidence of those who hired the vehicles that carried out the abduction. Tawanda's release was only forced on the abductors by a court order. It is also common cause that Mduduzi Matutu, a respected and senior journalist, was wrongfully hunted and wanted like a common criminal. His only crime was practicing his trade. The state must live up to its obligations as set out in Section 219 of the Constitution and investigate and bring to book Tawanda Muchehiwa's abductors and tormentors. We also demand justice for Joanna Mamundi, Nesai Maro, and Cecilia Chimbiri. We demand justice for Tatenda Mombeara. We continue to demand that the state bring back Itai Mtamara. We further demand an investigation into the extrajudicial killings of Mazwin Love and Lavenda Chua. The state must stop abusing the rights of citizens, including journalists, lawyers, and critics of the system. We demand the release of Okol Jumoro. The MDC Alliance remains committed to the fight for freedoms, constitutionalism, and the security of persons. I thank you.
Right, members of the press, I'm going to open up the floor to a few questions. If you may kindly just put up your hand and you can direct your questions to the committee secretary, Mr. James Sintiba.
So my name is Blessed Mhlanga from Heart and Soul TV and Radio. You said that before you were presented a signed affidavit of injuries sustained by Tendai. Why did she not make a report to the police that she had been abducted and subsequently physically abused? If so, that abduction happened.
Are you asking whether or not Tendai Masotsha made a police report?
Yes.
Or she did not indicate to the committee whether a police report was made?
But in your investigations, I'm sure you would have asked that question because you were investigating this matter. And it would be vital to know whether she reported that abduction and whether there was any report linking it to any abduction whatsoever.
Our investigation was centered on investigating Tendai Masotsha's role in the abduction of Tawanda Muchehiwa, not Tendai Masotsha's arrest and or abduction. So our interest and our focus was determined by our mandate. And that was our mandate. You do ask a valid question, but I believe that you can direct that question to Tendai Masotsha.
Next question. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sophia Mapanga, I'm a freelance journalist. My question is, you mentioned that you are demanding justice, but we note that precedents before you have been demanding justice for Itai Zamara, you continue to demand justice for the extrajudicial killings that you mentioned. How are you going to pursue and ensure that justice is served?
We are committed to continue to put pressure on the regime. I am sure you are aware that we are engaged in an armed struggle against a brutal dictatorship. We will not stop putting whatever form of pressure that we can, including exercising our rights in terms of Section 59 of the Constitution.
Next question. Yes, sir.
Tawanda Muchehiwa, freelance journalist. Committee Secretary, we understand that Tendai Masotsha there was a recommendation for suspension by the MDC Alliance with our board. So what is the part going to do in terms of the suspension?
Tendai Masotsha is a member of the National Council of the MDC Alliance. The disciplining of a National Council member of the MDC Alliance is the president of the National Council, not a provincial structure. What the National Council has received from the province was a request for an investigation, and they did so following our party procedure.
Thank you, sir. Are there any further questions?
Sure. I do understand that during this investigation, she was under a suspension. Has that suspension been lifted? Subsequent to your findings?
I'm not sure that that is the correct position. The National Council, which is the body in power to suspend the Tendai Masotsha, has not effected any suspension.
So she was being investigated, while this she was effectively a National Council member.
Yes.
And that did not in any way jeopardize the investigations?
No. Not at all. The investigations are done at a national level, because she's a National Council member. And in the event that this Ad Hoc Committee had found out anything untoward done by Tendai Masotsha, then it would have gone to this next stage of our disciplinary procedures, now going to our National Disciplinary Committee.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
But is that best practice that somebody who is being investigated is continuing with their role, more so in the National Council?
Yeah, what we were doing is an inquiry. And as I indicated, post the inquiry, if the inquiry indicates that there is a potential breach of the code, okay, then a suspension will be effected, because we are now going through our disciplinary procedures. This was an inquiry, an investigation, and an investigation would ordinarily lead to either a disciplinary process or an ending of the processes, like what would happen now.
Yes, sir.
Costa from News Zimbabwe. One of the things that came out during the Masotsha inquiry is that the party appears to have been infiltrated by the ZANU-PF, and Masotsha was actually one of them who was being presumably said to have infiltrated the party. And also, this has been also evidenced by some of your party officials who have defected to ZANU-PF. From your investigation, from this inquiry, would you say your party is safe from infiltration?
Let me answer the last question first. No political party under the sun is safe from infiltration, whether it is the Democratic Party in the United States, or the Labour Party in the UK, the ANC in South Africa, or the MDC Alliance in Zimbabwe. No party is safe from infiltration. Going to your first question, you said that during the inquiry, it was established that that is not a fact.
No, this is one of the things that came out.
But did it come out of this inquiry, or it came out of some media commentary?
I mean, it was a narrative which was obtained.
Yeah, that's speculation, isn't it? During the inquiry, the issue of infiltration never came out. What we were concerned about is whether our member played any role in the abduction of a citizen, because we take that very seriously. This is why we had to do this investigation.
Right, I'll take just 3 more questions. If you haven't asked a question yet, please put your hand up. And if I may just kindly request journalists to just confine themselves to 1 question so that we can allow the committee secretary to answer and also give others an opportunity. Yes, sir.
Sorry, mine is a bit of a digression from what has been discussed here. But I want to find out if the MDC has some form of confidence in the electoral process at the moment. And how do you actually see your chances of making it in 2023? Should you be able to participate as a party? Thank you.
We've put our concerns on the table with respect to the electoral environment. We've gone beyond just putting our concerns on the table, but we've come up with a comprehensive policy paper called PRAS, which identifies all the key areas that we want dealt with in order to create an environment for a free, fair, and credible election. PRAS includes both legislative and non-legislative reforms that needs to be embarked on. So yes, we're not satisfied with the environment as it is. This environment is skewed in favor of the incumbent, and a free and fair election is well nigh impossible under these conditions.
Thank you. Just 2 more questions if there's anyone who hasn't asked. If not, Mr. Mhlanga.
I just wanted to find out, there are concerns that the MDC alliance is becoming what it is fighting, that you're becoming the beast that you're trying to fight in terms of violence and abductions. This is why we see you now investigating your own in terms of abductions. Are you morphing into a monster?
Blessed, what we are actually doing today is a demonstration that we behave differently and that we are an alternative. We have put this regime under so much pressure to be able to do the basic things that we are doing now. An allegation is made that there has been this conduct by either our member or a state agent, etc. Actually go through the process of investigating it and going public on it. This demonstrates our difference from the way in which the government operates. This is why, even in this report, we are making a demand to government to actually investigate the various abductions that have taken place over the years. We cannot be morphing into what we are actually demonstrating. Should not be done.
Thank you. I'll just take 1 more question. Costa,
Thanks for
questioner.
The Supreme Court recently ruled, if I'm wrong, you just correct me, ruled that you're not a legal persona. On what basis do you still regard yourself as a political party?
I think you're mistaken, Costa. Let me take you back. I know the judgment that you are making reference to, and this is the judgment by Justice Chitapi. Justice Chitapi made a finding that the MDC alliance is a political party in terms of the electoral party. However, there's nothing that has been put before me, which ordinarily would be, say, the constitution of the organization, to show that it is a legal person, meaning it can sue or be sued in its own name. But it is a political party. So the question of whether the MDC alliance is a political party or not is decided. It is a political party. So I don't want you to confuse that. What we then had done was to appeal against certain findings by Justice Chitapi in his overall judgment, because there are several other issues that he raised. We appealed against those, okay, to the Supreme Court. That matter was struck off the register because of certain technical issues. But being struck off the register means that it can come back, okay, by either an application to the court itself to make sure that it is reinstated, or a fresh application that can be put before the court. You are following a lot of political propaganda to be told that this is what Supreme Court did. It didn't do anything like that.
Okay, so all that remains, ladies and gentlemen, is for me to thank you very much for your time in coming to be with us during this press conference. For purposes of accountability, we've made copies which should be arriving shortly of the report, so that as press officers you've got copies of the same. I also undertake that a copy of the report will be posted and published on our party website by close of business today, so it will be available to everyone. So thank you very much. That marks the close of this press conference, so thank you very much.